Good evening. Welcome to another exciting edition of Sewing and Bourbon. I'm Glenn. This is Charlie. And tonight, what do we have on the bar?
The always exciting Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A124.
Okay. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof release A124, first release of the year. They release these 3 times a year, correct? This is the first.
That's right.
And Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, it's always a big hit. It always creates a lot of conversation, right? Depending on the age and the proof. And last year's release, what was it the C923 that it was?
C923 that was
130 something proof?
The best. It was 13 years old or whatever. And
so was the A123.
And then there was controversy between, is it different batches and are they different? And I don't think mine is as good as it was and blah, blah, blah. And we say all of this to just say that this is still, in my opinion, I think I speak for Glenn as well, one of the best bottles you can get at retail that is still somewhat readily available and just perfect bourbon.
No doubt, no doubt.
Never disappoints.
So this year's release, 119 proof, 10 years, 9 months old. Mash bill 781012, as you already stated.
What'd you pay for this bad boy?
$66.99 at Meyer. I mean, what a deal.
You want to talk about the bourbon economy?
What a deal.
These have skyrocketed in price both at retail and secondary because people have finally figured out that they are pretty darn good. So to snag something like this for under $70 is huge.
Yeah, it usually isn't. Suggested retail on these is $80, right?
Yeah, $79.99 usually. So
I got a great deal.
Great deal. So
and that same day, I got the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Larceny Barrel Proof, and the new Booker's.
We should do an episode about all 3 of those.
Huh, that's a great idea.
Let's do that. You know what else we should do?
What's that?
We should tell people about our merchandise that we now sell.
Yes, we should.
So if you've noticed, we're not wearing our usual very handsome polos. We have these wonderful tri-blend, very soft. They're the best
Very
t-shirts.
soft. Great shirts.
Wonderful logo on the front. Glenn, show them the logo on the back. This is my model, Glenn.
You know what I hate? You know what a pet peeve of mine is?
Look at that. Look at that logo. Show your love for Sewing to Bourbon. Tell us what your pet peeve is.
Cheap t-shirts.
These are not cheap t-shirts,
Nope.
my friends. These are amazing quality. You're going to love them. Everybody's going to love them. Buy them, friends, family. And the main reason you want to buy them is we're going to have an amazing raffle coming up. And if you buy anything from our gear store, which we don't just have t-shirts, there's other stuff too, you're going to be entered into a raffle. Stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe here so you see what you get to win.
Absolutely. Let's get to
drinking. That's what you're here for. 10 years, 9 months?
10 years, 9 months.
God,
yeah.
rarefied air, man. Just rarefied air.
A nice, beautiful dark amber
It
color
really
on it.
is. It has a.
Clings to the glass well.
What's the proof on this one?
119.
Okay. I'll take that.
So a little step back, and that's, you know, I think the C923 that we did last year, we both felt like it was a little hot, like a little too much, a little overproof.
Which is unusual for me. I really like barrel proof bourbon, but as I get older and as we drink more, I really like that subtle nuanced flavor, and I do feel like it was overproofed. I'm really excited about this one.
I'm looking forward to this one. Got that classic Elijah Craig cola.
Yep.
A little bit of spice there.
Yeah, I get it. I get that kind of cherry cola note because there's definitely some cherry, some pitted fruit in there. I do get a little bit of rye spice in there.
Yeah, there's
almost like
definitely some spice in there.
Yeah, I really like
Which is what you expect out of Elijah Craig.
I love a nose that when you nose it, you immediately are like, oh, I cannot wait to drink this. And this has that nose.
Speaking of which,
Elijah Craig.
Well, I tell you what, that cola note on the nose really carries over to the palate. Mm-hmm. It almost has, and you say this a lot, is that fizzy, almost like you're drinking a soft drink. And that's
effervescent.
kind of the feeling I got there. And then it kind of gives way a little bit to more of the chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, dark fruit notes.
It is, if you like your Elijah Craig, like I normally do, like typically I like the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs because they're a madman, right? Like it's just intense flavor and just suck you right in the mouth and you're drinking barrel proof bourbon. This one's very balanced. It's very, I don't want to say mellow because it's not mellow. It still has intense flavor, but it takes you on a very nice, civilized ride from start to finish. Sweet up front, that kind of cola note gives you a little effervescence. Mid palate, you get a little bit of that rye spice. The proof is just perfect enough to let you know you're drinking some. Has a nice oaky finish without being over oaked, a little bitter chocolate. And the finish just kind of sits on the back of your tongue. It doesn't overwhelm anything. Everything is very balanced and very nuanced. It's a very civilized, nuanced pour, which is not something you expect from Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I really like this.
So it's different. It's not, to me, it's a deviation from the past, at least the past few Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs that we've had.
Yeah.
Which those have really, as soon as it hit my mouth, I'm like, oh, holy crap. That's awesome.
Just sucks you right in the face.
I'm not getting that from this one.
Yep.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's not blowing me away.
It is, and I think that speaks more to the performance that the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs have had in the last couple of releases. I like this kind of a return, call it what you will, maybe a return to normalcy. This is a nice, it's not a nice, it's 10 years old, almost 11 years old. It's got great flavor.
I really like the finish.
I do
The longer
too.
I sit here, the more I like the finish.
I love it.
I'm getting caramel on the finish.
It's an absolutely crushable bottle because the releases you're talking about, the C923 and going further back into 23 and even into 22, those are bottles that you kind of end your night on.
Right.
Because you're going to have an ounce, maybe two, and then it's going to destroy your palate. You're going to be like, all right, I'm going to have enough. This is a crushable bottle of bourbon. This is an absolutely sippable for $67. This is a bottle that you can, I want to pour it over a big rock tonight. I want to, enjoy it neat. I just want to kind of sip on it. That's a very nice classic bourbon.
So, kind of on my second visit, now I'm getting a little bit more of the chocolate and caramel, almost like a Milky Way candy bar, which to me, last year's releases really had that. And I don't know, maybe it's my palate tonight, but I didn't get that at all on the first pour. Now that's coming through a little bit more to me. It still doesn't blow me away like the previous releases did last year. Like you said though, solid pour for $67. I mean,
you know what we should do?
Compare it to is it the 923?
No, this is A124.
Okay,
so
good.
the first release of last year, and
because that one I loved.
You did love this one.
Yes.
So let's see.
Thought it was better than the 923.
Let's see how this relates. Now this one, I'll give you quick specs. Obviously, mash bill is the same. This is 125.6 proof, so quite a step up, and this is a full 12 years old. I'll just
And once again, it's been sitting for a while. It's had time to open up.
Obviously, we've been enjoying it. I mean, there's definitely a difference in the color to me. I mean, there's not a ton in there, but a shade, probably a shade darker. A lot more ethanol, obviously. 125 versus 119. But I don't get as much
Cola.
Yeah. I don't get as much cola on this one. I get oak and char
This
and
is more of a
barrel proof.
yeah, classic like the char, the dark fruits, a little bit of chocolate.
Cheers. Let's see what this one's like. Yeah, that's
As good as I remember.
that's dumb.
That's so much better.
Well, when you say better, you just mean it's more complex and better.
No, it's better.
That's what I said. That was the joke. It's better. This is what's so much fun about bourbon, right? And especially for these limited releases and these barrel proof releases that people will often say, like, how can you spend $70 on a bottle of bourbon? How can you spend more, $80? How can you spend $50? Well, this one's been around for a year and we're still enjoying it. You go and you buy a good bottle of wine for $20 and it's gone in an evening.
Yeah.
We're still getting a year of enjoyment out of this. This is what's great about bourbon. It's hard not to be romantic about bourbon because you have these two products that are the same mash bill. They're just a different blend and a different age, and they're totally different.
It's so good.
It is very good. That is very good. So, what do we do with this guy? Because it's been very quiet on the Elijah Craig.
There's usually a ton of articles and videos and a lot of talk when they come out. I haven't really heard much at all.
It's been very quiet about the A124. And I have been very excited to get this one. What do we do with this guy? What do we say about him? Where does he fit into the legacy and lore of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof? It's got a great nose, though. Oh, my gosh.
I'll tell you what. Well, let's rate it.
Oh, we just going to do that?
Yeah, we're going to rate it.
Boy, that's tough. Where do you put that guy? Because are you rating it against other Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs, or are you just rating it for what it is and what you paid for it?
Both.
Okay, so it's a 3.
In my mind, I can't separate those two things, right?
Well, I don't know what happens in your mind. You know, I'm going to give this a solid 7.125.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
And that's partially because I expect more. And when
you know
compare it to the A123, it's just like I just went back to it and like I wanted to lower my score after comparing it.
Well,
to
and let's
and
make
I'm not
no
trashing.
mistake.
I'm not trashing.
Correct. Let's make no mistake. We don't expect more. This is entirely Heaven Hill's fault for producing the last 3 or 4 releases of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof that are insane.
And listen, it's an unfair fight. This one's been open for a year. It's had time to, air out and rest and all that good stuff. So, maybe we come back to this in a couple months and we're like, oh man, that's so much better than what we thought. But I can only go on what I'm tasting right now in front of me.
You're right. And what this is, and that's what I said, this is a departure from what has been. This is a much more, almost Elijah Craig Barrel Proof light is how I would deem that. And maybe that's what we call this, the light batch, L-I-T-E.
See, I wouldn't call it light because to me, it's hard. It's a little harsher than this one. So,
what do you mean by harsher?
Just more. It kind of leaves a little burn in my throat. It's kind of sitting right here. Whereas this one, it's so smooth. It goes down easy.
That's interesting. See, I don't get any harsh on this. I get very balanced, very kind of sipping whiskey, elegant, kind of, you're going to taste the grain and all that good stuff.
To
very
me,
nice.
When you say that, you're describing this one.
No,
that's to me.
You're
describing this one.
This is pure unadulterated madness.
Well,
just from start to finish.
It's a candy bar. It's really, really good. And this is good. Don't get me wrong. I would buy this again.
This is in your face flavor. You don't have to be.
But it's, to me, it's
If you'd like
Go
to
ahead.
learn more
You
about
talk.
Glenn Hockersmith's love affair with A123, write us at sointobourbon@gmail.com. Glenn has, since we did this one, even when 923 came out, C923, Glenn was like, no, it's A123. And he has loved this bottle from the get-go. It's a great bottle. It's a great pour. But I think you're being a little, hard on the beaver.
I may be, and I think, you know, who knows? Maybe I ate Mexican food today, so maybe my palate's messed up. I don't know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with your palate. This is just a flavor preference, and I really think that this goes back to if you go in your store and you buy this and you are expecting the performance of C923 or B whatever 23 or A123, it's not. They are not the same.
But don't, if you've never had an Elijah Craig
if you've
Barrel
never,
Proof,
don't pass up
or you've
on
never
it.
been able to
Yeah.
find one, if you see this, get it.
Yes,
it's
get it.
Definitely,
especially under 80
yeah.
bucks, even under 90 bucks,
Yeah.
you get it because this is not a disappointing bottle of bourbon, but
No.
it is a departure, even to me. And I maybe have had more Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs than I've had any other releases, limited releases, going back to probably 2015. This is definitely a departure from what typically we've had. So I like it. I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is different from what people expect.
I would agree. 100%.
Which is interesting, which
is.
is the whole reason we do this. Glenn, tell the people what they need to do.
Well, what we would love for you to do is to like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel, and also check out our socials. So in the Bourbon on Facebook, even though we really don't do a whole lot on there.
We're there.
So in the Bourbon on Instagram, Whiskey Realtor on TikTok.
Make sure to go to our web store, which is linked pretty much everywhere, including in the comments of this video, and buy one of these t-shirts because you'll want to make sure you're subscribed so you learn about this giveaway. It may involve a round bottle with a horse on it. Don't tell anybody. And most importantly, tell them what to do, Glenn.
Keep those wallets loose.
And your bungholes tight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Elijah Craig. And that's how you treat that with respect and dignity.
Put respect on its name.
Put respect on my name. I felt that. Did you rupture something?
No, it's that larceny. What?
Listen,
Really?
I'm not a fan of larceny either, but you're not going to throw larceny under that.
I did. Just eat Mexican.
Exactly. It made a noise. I'm hoping we didn't get a bad cork here. It
What
came,
kind of noise did it make?
it went.
It's weird.
Just shut up.
Quite a pour there.
Well, we got to compare it to the other one.
Do we?
They demand it. I want to give you one of these right in your suck hole. Who's excited? This little boy. Do we look good? Are we handsome?
Well,
Some of us.
some might say. I was called a silver fox this morning.
Ouch.
At the,
What was his name?
it was a dude. I was like, what are you saying to me and why?
I'll tell my dad to back off. 3, 2,